Okay, the time has come to call our meeting for tonight, November 16th, to order. First item on the agenda, would you verify the quorum for us?
Yes. Scott Mulhern,
Here.
Ron Rice,
Here.
John McKinley,
Here.
Tim Bowers, Danny Bryant,
Here.
Matias Rosales,
Present.
Bobby McDermott,
Here.
Gary Black,
Here.
Sean Rogerson, Paul White. Chairman, you do have a quorum.
Very good. I'm going to read the script before we go further. If you are parked in the rear employee gated parking lot, please move your vehicle to the front of the north parking lot to avoid having your vehicle locked in. Please sign in at the table by the back door. If you speak tonight, please state your name and address for the record before speaking at the podium. When you do speak, please address the chairman and not the audience or the staff, and we will pass any questions that need to be passed on. There is a 3-minute timer rule. We don't have to use it very often. We don't expect to tonight, but if we need to, we can ask Amber to turn the light on, but we hope to let everyone speak their mind completely. If you have handouts, give them to staff, and they will distribute them to the commission unless Amber tells you otherwise. And if you have information to place on the overhead projector, please give admin a copy of that as well. It will become a part of the permanent record.
No, I don't think it's.
Restrooms and drinking fountains are outside, just down the hall behind us. Feel free to use those as needed. And please, no food or beverages in the meeting room, with the exception of water, is welcome. Now, if you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have it.
First item on tonight's agenda is the approval of the October 26th, 2021 minutes. Commissioners had time to look at those.
I make a motion we approve the minutes of the meeting.
I'll second that.
A motion by Commissioner Rice, seconded by Commissioner Black, to approve the minutes for the October 26th meeting as published. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passed. Item number 4 on tonight's agenda is a request to initiate the adoption of the proposed Yuma County Bikeways Master Plan. Staff?
Mr. Chairman, this item was presented to the Planning and Zoning Commission and also to the Board of Supervisors previously. When it did go to the Board of Supervisors, there was some comments by the Irrigation District about addressing their concerns or identifying their concerns. The comments that were made by the representatives were sent to Gene Dalby and Jeff Brand. They spearheaded this document, and they did make a minor change to the document that addressed the comments made by the Irrigation District. At this time, this request is to initiate the adoption of the amendment. It'll be brought, if the commission initiates adoption, then it'll be brought back to the Board of Supervisors, back to the Planning and Zoning Commission, either in January or December or January.
So at tonight's, if we choose to initiate the adoption, will there be a public hearing for this item tonight, or will that wait until it comes back in January?
It'll wait till it comes back in December or January.
Very good, thank you. Any commissioners have questions of staff?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Jeff Brand and Gene Dalby are here.
We'll ask.
If they would like to speak at this time.
Would either of you fine gentlemen like to speak tonight?
Jeff Brand, I chaired the task force that prepared the document. As we all know, as a result of the concerns about the theoretical risk of contamination associated with canal paths that were raised by the Yuma Irrigation District at the supervisors meeting, the proposed Bikeways master plan was returned to the Planning Commission and to the task force for further consideration. Even though the decades of cooperation between the Yuma County Water Users Association and the City of Yuma shows that canal paths can safely coexist with bike paths, even though there is nothing in the scientific literature that points to the contamination due to canal paths. Even though the proposed county master plan does not envision a canal path between the City of Yuma and the foothills, thus it would not impact on YID. Nevertheless, to facilitate the adoption of the plan at the bottom of the section entitled Involvement of Irrigation Districts, we have added the following compromise language. Prior to submission for approval to the County Board of Supervisors, any proposed canal path must have the prior approval of the adjacent managing water district or association. We believe that the language should suffice to resolve the concerns raised by YID. Also, please be advised that the Yuma Water Users Association, which had a seat on the task force that wrote the plan, will shortly be providing a letter in full support of the plan as amended. The last time the Commission recommended the adoption of a Bikeways plan was in 1987, and most of the problems identified in that plan still exist, and their needed resolution has only intensified. We therefore offer this amended language in the spirit of compromise, as the community cannot wait another 34 years for the implementation of badly needed bicycle safety improvements, family recreational opportunities, and the economic stimulus that this plan can usher in. Clearly, it is not in the interest of the community for the process to be elongated, so to facilitate this progress, we believe that compromise is the path that we should follow into the future, and thus the language that has been proposed for your consideration.
Thank you, sir. Any commissioners have questions of this?
Sir?
Any questions of Jeff?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I see that Maggie has left, but I'm assuming staff is satisfied with this new language, that it meets the needs.
Mr. Chairman,
She would have told us, yes.
yeah,
Go ahead.
probably we will need to wait for
Okay.
the planning director to come back to.
She probably thought Gene was going to speak. It would have been a lot longer. Yes, just making sure that you're comfortable with the language that has been changed and it's ready to go forward to the Board of Supervisors.
Yes.
Commissioners,
Mr. Chairman, will you take a motion?
please.
I'd make a motion to initiate adoption of the proposed Yuma County Bikeways Master Plan as a commission initiative. Yes.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Black with a second by Commissioner McDermott to approve the initiation Planning Commission to move this document forward. Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion passed. Next item on tonight's agenda, minor amendment case number 21-08. Albert Caja, agent for Cash Now Homes LLC, requests to change the land use designation of a parcel 22,870 square feet from industrial to urban density residential. Staff report, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Javier Barraza, senior planner, presented minor amendment case 21-08. The project is located in the Hill Valley planning area at 2305 East 15th Street in Yuma. The intent of the applicant is to rezone the subject parcel to high-density residential to bring the property in compliance with its current multifamily residential use. This is the land use and vicinity map. The subject parcel is crosshatch, is parcel number 7 at the center of the map. The surrounding land use is industrial. On the north, east, south, and west, and on the northwest is low-density residential. This is an aerial view showing the subject parcel. The parcel is improved with the Gila Valley apartments that consist of 4 duplexes that were established in 1960, 1968, 1969, prior to the establishment of the heavy industrial zoning in the area. The orange highlight depicts the residential uses in the area, and the cyan is the industrial uses in the area. This is a view looking southeast at the subject parcel from the northwest corner. Now looking southwest of the subject parcel from the northeast corner of the property. Staff received comments from MCIS not opposing this request. Staff received comments in opposition from 3 properties within the notification area located on the southwest corner. Staff recommends approval of minor amendment case number 21-08 based on the following. The proposed amendment is considered an overall improvement to the plan since the parcels to the west, north, and east are used for residential purposes. The proposed change is compatible with adjoining residential uses on the west, north, and east. The proposed change does address an oversight, inconsistency, or other land use related inequity. The current land use designation does not support the existing use. And number 4, the existing industrial land use designation is not appropriate for the current residential use of the subject parcel and immediate vicinity on the west, north, and east. Mr. Chairman, that concludes staff's presentation, and the applicant is present.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Do any commissioners have questions of staff?
This is a little bit odd to put a high-density residential inside of a industrial area without a buffer. Is there any buffering between the 2 zonings?
No, Mr. Chairman, industrial uses are just immediately south of the parcel, the subject parcel. This will be the buffer per se, establishing starting residential land use there. The applicant is not proposing any changes. He just wants to be able to change it, and so it meets the use on the property.
Any other questions by commissioners for staff? Yes, Bob.
What was the nature of the objections? The 3 opposition?
Staff will share
Mr.
those.
Chairman, according to the letter, it says, after review the request for change from industrial to urban density residential, we are going to have to protest the request, saying that they own 3 properties nearby. That was the extent of the comment, not anything else. No more detail was provided. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, the applicant would like to come forward and speak now. You don't have to, but if you'd like to. You're going to pass? You're going to pass? Okay. We'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting now and ask if there's anyone in the audience tonight who would like to speak concerning this minor amendment case number 2108, either for or against. No one has risen. We will close the public hearing portion of the meeting and come back to the commissioners for discussion and action.
I'll make a motion to approve per staff's recommendation. Minor amendment case number 21-08.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rosales with a second by Commissioner Rice to recommend approval as per staff's recommendation of minor amendment case 2108. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carried unanimously. Item number 6 on tonight's agenda, rezoning case number 21-23. Vinaya Vega, agent for Jose Jamie and Lena Gomez, request the rezoning of a parcel approximately 5 gross acres in size from rural area 10 acre to light industrial 2 acre minimums. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Anson Lahosset, Senior Planner, presenting rezoning case 21-23. Jenny Vega, agent for Jose Jaime and Lina Gomez, request the rezoning of a parcel approximately 5 gross acres in size from rural area 10-acre minimum to light industrial 2-acre minimum. The subject parcel is located within the Yuma Mesa planning area in the vicinity of the southeast corner of Avenue 3E and County 14th Street. And it is located mainly in the 65 to 69 decibel noise zone with a portion in the 70 to 74 decibel noise zone. The intent is to establish a light industrial use with parcels of 2 acres in size. The applicant did not provide a specific use. This is a vicinity and zoning map showing the subject parcel in red crosshatched. Parcel 22 to the north is zoned LI and is an agricultural production and has a wireless telecommunications tower. Parcel 3 to the east is zoned RA5 and is the location of the Journey Church. Parcel 9 to the south is zoned RA10 and is currently in agricultural production. Parcel 1 to the west is also zoned RA10 and is the location of 2 warehouse buildings. Here's an aerial image of the parcel, which is currently vacant. There is a paved driveway approach on the west side of the subject property. And this is the site plan provided by the applicant. An image looking southeast at the subject property from the northwest corner of the parcel. And an image looking west at County 14th Street from the northeast corner of the subject parcel. Staff received no comments from residents within the zone of notification area. Marine Corps Air Station Yuma and the Yuma County Airport Authority suggested due to the location within the 65 to 69 decibel noise zone and 70 to 74 decibel noise contour that measures to achieve noise level reduction be incorporated into the design and construction of future buildings and an navigation easement. Staff recommends approval of rezoning case number 21-23, subject to the following performance and operational conditions. Within 60 days of approval by the Board of Supervisors, the owner or agent shall provide an ARS 12-1134 waiver, record an navigation disclosure statement, record a schedule for development disclosure statement, record an agriculture disclosure statement, and for schedule for development, within 1 year of approval by the Board of Supervisors, the property shall be split by means of a land division permit pursuant to Section 507 of the Yuma County Zoning Ordinance. Record a 1-foot non-access easement along County 14th Street, excluding the existing access along the west property line of the subject parcel. The land division permit shall identify the following site constraints that must be addressed as conditions to the eventual issuance of building permits. Non-compatible land uses for this location are the manufacturing of chemicals, petroleum, apparel, rubber, plastic, professional, scientific, and controlling instruments. And it is requested that specific uses are provided to MCAS Yuma prior to their start to ensure compatibility. Mr. Chairman, this completes staff's presentation. I don't believe that the agent or applicant is present, but are there any questions for staff?
Any commissioners have questions of staff at this time? If not, we will move to the public hearing portion of the hearing and ask if there's anyone here tonight who would like to speak regarding this request, either for or against. Yes, come to the podium. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Gail Davis, 4770 East County 14 and a half Street. I just want to comment, this is a 5-acre parcel, nothing less than 2 minimum acres. So I want to make sure it doesn't get divided into 1-acre plots at some point in time. I know it stipulates minimum 2 acre, but I just wanted to kind of go on record that that would be the case, given it's 5 acres. And does it also stipulate the kinds of light industrial things that can go there? Across the street is a junkyard with cars and wrecks and things along that line. Is there any stipulation for the kinds of light industrial that can move into that lot?
We'll ask staff to comment, number one, on the fact that they would have to come back for another rezoning if they went less than 2-acre parcels. And number two, the list of items that can go in a light industrial are delineated in the zoning ordinance. Is that accurate?
Correct, Mr. Chairman. The light industrial zoning district does have a list of permitted uses that can be established on that parcel. The zoning ordinance can be found online. And it also has a list of special uses that could be established with the approval of the special use.
So if you understood what she said, there's this list of items that you can read that could go there, and some that might be permitted, but it would require another public hearing and a special use permit.
So do they come back to a public hearing then to tell you what goes on that property as light industrial at some point down the line?
Not if it's a permitted use. If it's a
I got
permitted
you.
use,
Okay.
they just go get a permit.
Okay, I got you. Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you. Anyone else in the public like to speak concerning rezoning case 21-23? If not, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting and come back to the commissioners for discussion and action.
Mr. Chairman, take a motion.
Certainly.
I make a motion to approve rezoning case number 21-23 as per staff's recommendation.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Rosales with a second by Commissioner Black to recommend approval of rezoning case 21-23 as presented by staff. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Ayes are unanimous. Item number 7 on tonight's agenda, rezoning case number 21-25, Dahl Robbins and Associates, agent for 5 Management LLC, requests the rezoning of a parcel totaling 7.05 acres in size from local commercial C1 to recreational vehicle subdivision.
Mr. Chairman, need to withdraw myself from rezoning case number 21-25. I'm currently employed by the agent for the owner.
Let the record show that Commissioner Mulhern has declared a conflict, and this rezoning case 21-25 will not participate in discussion or action. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Javier Barraza, Senior Planner, presenting rezoning case number 21-25. The project site is located in the Foothills planning area at southwest corner of Foothills Boulevard and 48th Street, and the intent is to allow the construction of a subdivision that consists of 36 lots. This is the Vicinity and Zoning Map showing parcel 901, highlighted in red. The property is vacant and is level. Access on the north along 48th Street and on the east along Foothills Boulevard. Parcel 458 on the north is zone local commercial and is the location of a convenience store and gas station. Parcels on the northwest are zone RVS within the Foothills Mobile State number 26 residential uses. On the west, we have the location of El Rancho Encantado number 1 subdivision, also zone RVS. And on the south, we have parcel number 5, also zone RVS, future location of Rancho Rialto phases 3 and 4, 5, and 6. And on the east, we have Foothills Mobile State number 5, number 9, number 11, zone RVS. This is the site plan provided by the applicant, showing the proposed conceptual of the subdivision. 36 lots, 2 entries, and a tract. This is an aerial view showing the current context of the neighborhood. This is a view looking southwest of the subject parcel from the northeast corner. Now looking northwest of the subject parcel from the midpoint from Foothills Boulevard. And looking north of the subject parcel from the south property boundary of the subject parcel. I received comments from MCAS not in favor of the request. Isabel Garcia from ADA provided comments. The engineering department will review the tentative map in accordance to Yuma County subdivision regulations and evaluate the road right-of-way dedications of the tentative map submittal. Planning staff, staff did not receive any comments from residents within in writing from residents within the area. Planning staff recommends approval of rezoning case 2125, subject to the following performance condition within 60 days of approval by the board. The owner or agent shall provide an ARS 12-1134 waiver, record a range disclosure statement, record a navigation disclosure statement, and record a schedule for development disclosure statement. And also the following is schedule for development. The owner applicant shall record a final plat subdividing the subject property into parcels of at least 5,000 square feet in size within 5 years of board's approval of this rezoning case. Mr. Chairman, this concludes staff's presentation, and the agent is present.
Thank you, sir. Do any commissioners have questions of staff?
Yes, are the density or the size of these lots, how do they compare with the ones directly to the east?
West-east, the RVS zoning allows for this size. It'll be like bigger than the minimum allowed. The RVS zoning allows for 2,400 for RVs only and 4,000 plus for manufactured homes, but 5,000 will be kind of the medium size.
Oh, is it significantly more dense than the stuff around it?
No, it's the same density.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
at this time, a tentative map is not under review. They have presented a conceptual site plan or a conceptual layout showing how the subdivision will be developed. It appears,
Just a second.
Actually looks like 8,000 square feet or so.
yeah, it appears that the lots are probably about the same size as the subdivision to the west and east.
Right, but they could go as low as 5,000 square feet, or is that what you just said?
At a minimum.
Or 4,000, actually, yeah. But they'll have to come back for that map.
The RVS district does allow lots of 4,500 square feet.
4,500. Commissioner Black?
Well, I thought, I was mistaken, I think, because I thought we just did this one. But it was another parcel, I believe, that was just above that.
They
Mr. Chairman,
used to have condos, huh?
Mr. Chairman, it is, the first time this was presented to you was under rezoning case 21-19. You guys acted on it. The
On homes.
Board of Supervisors denied that request, and it came back with a different request. This time, instead of medium density, they requested RVS.
Okay.
I thought so.
So this was the same parcel that was going to have the wonderful townhouses. Thank you.
You won on that one.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought. I thought, wow, it looks a lot better.
Any other questions by commissioners for staff? If not, would the applicant like to share with us now?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Adrian Vega, 1560 South Fifth Avenue. Yes, we had this property rezoning in front of you guys about 3 months ago. It was a rezoning for a medium density residential, R2. Said request was approved by you guys, but we were denied at the board level. The main reason for that, there was concerns about not matching the adjacent properties zoning, which is RVS, pretty much all around. So after the outcome of that meeting, we met with the developer and he decided to move forward and submit an RVS zoning to match the adjacent properties. Some of you had concerns on our layout. Originally, we were extending the existing streets to the west with cul-de-sac streets. We took your comments and modified our layout to have less impact on Foothills Boulevard. Instead of having 4 points of connection, we have now 2 only. The intent is to develop a single-family residential subdivision consisting of 36 lots. That is a reduction of 16 lots compared to the original or the previous case. I mean, with that said, we do agree to the conditions that staff has, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Do any commissioners have questions of the applicant?
Just one. So actually, you're increasing density. Is that correct?
No. Mr. Chairman, the original number of lots on the previous case was 52.
Okay.
Right now, we have 36.
Quite a reduction. Anyone else? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll open the public hearing portion of the meeting now. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak concerning this rezoning case 21-25? Yes, we have the stranger.
We took too long, so I said.
Yeah. I was going once, going twice. It almost went through. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Antonio Martinez, Marine Corps Station. Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I just want to be on record as previously on the previous case. Still, the zone is within the 1 mile buffer zone for the BMGR. That has not changed. So obviously, MCS Yuma will oppose any increase of density, especially after being zoned, any zoning after 2005 from the study, and that specific language was added to the comprehensive plan, stating that that was the rule to be followed. So we just want to put that on record.
Do you feel a little bit better now that it's way less dense than it was last time? Does that make you this much happier?
Officially, no.
Did anybody here officially come out of there? No, we understand and appreciate you coming and commenting. Thank you.
I do appreciate everything that you guys do for us as well. So yeah, I know you see me more here for the denials, but I mean, I see everything that goes through, and we do appreciate that.
Do any commissioners have questions of the speaker? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in tonight's audience that would like to speak concerning this case? If not, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting and come back to the commissioners for discussion and action.
Chairman, will you take an action?
Yes, sir.
I move to approve per staff's recommendation and conditions rezoning case number 2125.
There is a motion by Commissioner Rosales with a second by Commissioner Rice to recommend approval of rezoning case 21-25 as presented by staff. Any discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think we need to comment, on this because, we understand the marine, the base and the regulations. But I think if you look at the density that's around there, actually, this use, I think, is legitimate and probably the best use for that property. And it doesn't really deviate from the surrounding zoning areas around there. So I would be in favor of it also, based on that.
Yeah, and we're really concerned that leaving it commercial could create so much more activity than those lots, right?
Correct.
Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Recommendation for approval will go to the Board of Supervisors unanimously. See how that goes. Item number 8 on tonight's agenda, rezoning case number 21-26. Kevin Birds, agent for Avenue 5E Farm Day LLC, requests the rezoning of a 10-acre gross parcel from rural area 10-acre minimum to suburban site built 2-acre minimum. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Juan Leal Rubio, Senior Planner with the Planning and Zoning Division. This property is located in the Yuma Mesa planning area at the southeast corner of Avenue 4 3/4 E and County 14.5 Street. And the intent is to split the property into 5 parcels for residential development. This is the vicinity map that shows parcel 1 crosshatch, which is the subject property. To the north, we have property zone SSB2, currently contain site-built homes. And to the southwest and east, we have property zone RA10 that are currently in ag production. Parcels 10 and 11 to the east are currently zone SSB2. And I believe parcel 10 has a house currently under construction, and parcel 11 remains vacant. This is the layout of the, or the intent of the parcel split that shows the County 14.5 Street in red and an easement that will be dedicated as the main access with a cul-de-sac leading to the newly created parcels. This is the aerial imagery that shows the separate property with surrounding uses. This picture with imagery was taken 3-4 years ago. This picture is looking north at the separate property, currently in alfalfa production. This is looking west along County 14.5 Street. As you can see, an improved road not maintained by the county. Staff received, we've been receiving letters throughout the day, so this is not updated. We received 3 letters, actually 4 letters in opposition, 3 from people or neighboring property owners within the zoning area, and 1 outside of the zoning area. And I'll show a map that identifies those properties. We also received comment from MCAS requesting a navigation and a race disclosure statement to be recorded. Staff is recommending approval of their rezoning case with the following performance conditions: that within 60 days of approval by the board, the owner or agent shall provide an ARS 121134 waiver and record an infrastructure, schedule for development, agricultural, and range and navigational disclosure statements. And the following schedule for development. We've been in conversation with the applicant this today, and they're asking for 2 years. We're okay with 2 years on the schedule for development. So within 2 years of approval by the board and prior to the approval of the land division permit, the owner shall acquire an egress easement 20 feet in width to provide for physical and legal access and apply for a grading permit with the Yuma County Engineering Department to improve said easement in a dust-free condition by the application of an aggregate base course covered by penetration and chip seal code, referred to attached standard B number penetration and chip seal. The western edge of the egress easement shall also contain the means for emergency vehicles to turn around. The turnaround shall be in accordance with the 2003 International Fire Code and current Yuma County policies. And I'll show that on the map. Within 2 years of approval by the board and prior to the approval of the land division permit, the owner shall apply for a grading permit with the Yuma County Engineering Department to improve the 20-foot wide egress easement, which provides direct access to the new lots in a dust-free condition by application of an aggregate base course covered by penetration and chip seal coat. The end of the egress easement shall also contain the means for emergency vehicles to turn around. The turnaround shall also shall be in accordance with the 2003 International Fire Code and Yuma County and current Yuma County policies. Number 3, within 2 years of approval by the board, the property shall be split by means of a land division permit pursuant to Section 507 of the Yuma County zoning ordinance. Any required irrigation easement shall be recorded with the land division permit. Number 4, within 2 years of approval by the board, the owner shall submit certification from a licensed engineer confirming that the roadways referred to in items 1 and 2 of the schedule for development were constructed according to the standard B penetration and chip seal. And number 5, all lots shall be provided with means of irrigation and access to irrigation water prior to development of any of the existing parcels. The owner applicant will submit a letter from the irrigation district to our department confirming that a satisfactory irrigation system is installed and the individual lots will have access to irrigation water. So this map here shows the, with a little star, the people in opposition. Again, There's 3 within the 300-foot notification area and 1 outside of the notification area. And this shows, in summary, it shows, or in diagram here representation, what we're asking for as far as access to the property. So they will have to acquire access from parcels 10, 11, or 2, leading to the edge of the property, to the east property line, and from that point, or dedicated an easement to provide access to the newly created lots, as shown on the map here. So that concludes staff's presentation. Ready to entertain any questions.
Thank you. Do commissioners have questions of staff at this point?
Yes, is this Unit B or Yuma Mesa?
This would be Chairman. I believe it's the Yuma Mesa Irrigation District.
It is Yuma Mesa?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Mr. Sherman, question? The access point, what type of, is that gonna be required to be any special material for the road or the entry, the easement?
Mr. Chairman, as stated on the schedule for the memo, they will have to, staff is recommending that standard B penetration chip seal road.
Any other questions from commissioners to staff? If not, is the applicant here? Would the applicant like to speak?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and fellow commissioners. My name is Kevin Burge, Core Engineering Group, 200 East 16th Street. I'm here representing the owner today. First of all, I'd like to thank the staff for their presentation. They are correct. We have asked for 2 years for the schedule of development. That will allow us time to appropriately approach either what has been identified as parcels 2 or 10 and 11 and get access to the parcel. There is legal access from the west, but there is a desire to create a shorter access to the arterial 5E, and so that is our plan. I'm going to speak a little bit about some of the concerns you may hear about, and then hand it off to my colleague to speak about some of the property concerns. Okay. Number one, the owner sends his regrets for not being able to be here today. He had a prior engagement and couldn't get from Phoenix to here within an hour. So, but number two, I would like to note that the intent for the 2-acre parcels carved out of this 10 acres meets with the character and development of many of the other parcels in the area. So we feel that it meets that spirit and also is in conformance with the general plan, and staff supports that. You're probably going to hear concerns from some of the other property owners about whether it's access to water, dust abatement, access on roadways, inadequate fire protection or law enforcement coverage. Speaking in order on those, as far as aquifer protection, we are not in an AWR management area, so that shouldn't be of concern. As far as any septic concerns, which was raised by one of the concerned citizens, the soil in the area is compatible with use of a septic system, as many of these other parcels do as well. As far as dust abatement and road maintenance, the owner will be required as part of the conditions approval to improve the road in front of his parcel, so that will actually improve the parcels to the north in terms of their access. There is no legal access to the east, as mentioned before. However, from personal observations, I can see that is going on now, so of course, approaching those parcel owners will be necessary. Lastly, I'm certainly sympathetic to the concerns that you may hear, and the owner is simply looking to develop something in character with what's in the surrounding area in terms of the size, and more or less looking to kind of lock in something that's very similar. At this time, I'd like, also I should note in terms of the adjacent location to the Berriem Goldwater Range, Should be noted that the owner will agree, of course, to the avigation easement and the, range disclosure statement. So there was an opposition from MCAS, but there certainly is a way to address those concerns. I'd like to hand it off to my colleague, Mr. Barry Olson, and he can speak to some of the property concerns that may or may be.
Thank you, sir.
Unless there's any questions of me.
Any commissioners have questions? Not at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Hear from Mr. Olson.
Good evening, Barry Olson, 101 East 2nd Street in Yuma. I know you're going to find this hard to believe, but Mr. Birch did such an excellent job. I don't have anything to add unless any of you have any questions.
You left an attorney, you left an attorney speechless?
Yeah.
Incredible.
I don't need to meet to it, but if there's any questions following any other public comment, I'd be glad to come up and address those.
Great. Do any commissioners have questions of Mr. Olson?
Sure.
We will call you back if needed. So let's open the public hearing portion of this rezoning case. Anyone in the audience that would like to speak concerning this case? Yes, sir, come up. Name and address for the record.
Chairman, my name is Randy Bach. I live at 4730 East County 14 and a half Street. I own parcels 16 and 17. Well, you see there's been 2 protests. Well, I own 2 of them. I wasn't here. I've been traveling for the last 2 weeks. I don't believe they're going to be able to hold back having this developed, and that's okay. I was here several years ago begging you to help us with a development that went to the east of us off of 4.5E. Some nice people came in, built 5 houses there. At that point in time, asked you to please upgrade the road in that area. This person promised they would only come in from 4.5E. To date, that has never happened. If you saw the picture that was earlier, could you please go back, sir, to the County 14 and a half, please? No, the road, sir. The picture of the road, please. One more. There you go. This road has now almost become impassable because not only have all 5 houses used County 14 and a half, but so has Amazon, UPS, post office. The traffic is horrendous now. When I moved in here, across the street was all trees. I believe at that time, maybe 5E was the one who bought it, took out the trees. For over 2.5 years, every time the wind came up there, we were built in with sand, sand dunes came up. To the point, we've had to move our mailboxes at least once. I regularly go down with a 75 horsepower tractor with a blade and a bucket to dig the new and improved post office boxes out of the sand. What I'm asking for here, and I think you've already answered it, and I really do appreciate it, we're hopefully going to put in a paved road, because if you don't, this road will not be passable. The second thing is, and I'm begging you, I'm literally begging you, for my own property and my neighbors, that when they tear up this alfalfa, because I went 2 years, 2.5, and I dug my whole front yard out many a time, I'm begging you to please have a dust abatement program, barriers, something, so when the wind blows out there in the mesa, this doesn't drift all the way into our yards and into our property. We were there before them. They have a right to build houses. I agree with you 100%. That is the mesa. That's why you're building the substation out there. But please consider the people that live there now. I'm begging you to sit there and give us an opportunity to have a quality of life while they build these 5 houses. Thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the comments. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Come. Okay. Come forward, name and address for the record.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Debbie Magrino.
My address is 14250 South Avenue 4 3/4 E. I'm the red star that's outside of the zone, but I use that road. I also sent in a letter. And let me just state that I am in favor of growth in Yuma County. I'm not opposed to growth in Yuma County. However, I think we need to look at it in a logical and healthy way. I do oppose infringement on the military bases and the military ranges. I do oppose development of irrigated land, specifically prime farmland, and, quote, farmland of unique importance, unquote. And I took that phrase out of the proposed 2030 draft plan. I've read all 327 pages. The proposed rezoning of property is right in the middle of irrigated farmland of unique importance, and it's just wrong. It's less than 1/4 of a mile from the western edge of the Berry Goldwater Range, and that's just too close to the range. I believe that we need to be reducing the density in that area as opposed to increasing the density. And farmland is a great buffer to military properties. We certainly don't want to give the US government a reason to come in and reduce their military footprint in Yuma County. They've been good friends. They're an extremely important part of our community and our economy. There's plenty of non-irrigated properties available to develop home sites. I think that that's really important. We should not be plunking monopoly houses on irrigated land only to have them not use the irrigation, which has happened in our area, and actually pump water from the aquifer to reduce their dust and keep their green lawns green. And then there's the traffic. And my neighbor just brought up the point of the traffic on that dirt road. And according to the draft, that there's 11 houses right now that use that dirt road along the north edge of the proposed property. And if this draft is to be believed, there's actually 2 3/4 driver in each of those houses. So if that's the case, and they use that 10 times a day, you're looking at 300 trips on a dirt road out there. So you're adding particulates into the air, allergens into the air in that area. And another point is just because there's zoning that's right across the road that's similar to this doesn't mean it's the right move to make. Thank you very much for your attention and your consideration to this point. I oppose the rezoning.
Thank you very much. Any commissioners have comments? Bob, go ahead.
One of the reasons I asked which district it was is because of the Yuma Mesa Irrigation District has water and productive cropland. And yes, it is unique farmland. And yes, it doesn't need to be in houses. More and more people are finding that as they buy these dream parcels, that it's a whole lot of work and it's a whole lot easier just to let it sit. I don't know if, you know, I will oppose this rezoning for that reason, that it is not, we're trying to evolve into a better place. And so many times the developer points out that, well, right across the road, I've got the same thing. But that doesn't make it right. And it wasn't right when they allowed so much development. In my mind, it's not right that the irrigation district doesn't protest. But you know, everything with the aquifer, your septic tanks, people not knowing how to manage their lands, no regulation as to the accumulation of whatever that occurs on these parcels. So from that standpoint, it really goes against, I don't know how I didn't notice what the development readiness index said on this parcel. Do you have that one?
285.
What was it?
Chairman Bryant, the score on the development evaluation checklist is 285.
Yeah. So that's almost, you know, in my mind, there's a lot of, I see it differently as having worked in agriculture and as a trained land use planner. And it just.
Do you have any questions directly for this?
Can I just make a point too? Commissioner McDermott hit the nail on the head, as that's what we're seeing out there. We've been out there for 17 years now. And a lot of people come in and buy these properties and don't realize the work that goes into them. And so they let it go barren. And so we've got dust lots when it's in an irrigation area. And then pumping water out of an aquifer for a green grass just is a poor use of our precious water.
Commissioner Rosales.
Since you guys are bringing up this bare land situation, well, your parcel is number 7? No, hers.
Mine
Yeah.
is, where is mine? Mine is actually up on the top, the red.
Oh, up there. Okay.
Yeah.
How many acres is yours?
We have 20 acres there.
You farm them?
Yes, we do.
What do you farm, alfalfa?
We actually farm hay and food for our large animals. And just a note too, looking at the draft, is hay/alfalfa is number 3 in economic driver behind fresh vegetables, farm vegetables, and lettuce. If you look at the list of items that are economic drivers.
Okay, that's the question I had. The other question I had for staff. So right now, the parcels 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they're utilizing that entrance off of 5E to access 14 and a half?
Chairman Bryant, yes, it appears that they're using an easement off of 5E to access their property.
So it is a legal easement that they're able to use, or it's just?
There's currently an easement that serves those properties there, which include parcels 10 and 11. Let me show you on the aerial imagery.
I was just going to say, because if that's the case, and now they're going to require it to be handed over and paved, it's going to be a big improvement, at least for those parcels right now.
Yeah, well, the intent or the schedule for development, the way it reads, we're asking that we're not taking that easement in consideration as far as access for the subject property. Right. They're going to have to either acquire easement, which will probably allow them to use that existing improved easement, or acquire an easement from the property to the south. But again, you know, the recommendation from staff is that they improve that to a standard B, penetration and chip seal.
Okay, which would be an improvement of the dirt. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners? If not, thank you.
Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Who else would like to speak tonight? Yes, ma'am, come forward.
You again. My name is Gail Davis, 4770 East County 14.5 Street. I would like to add on to my neighbor's comments with some additional insights for consideration. Again, not approved to growth, or not opposed to growth. But I would challenge the council to think about the future impacts of some of these developments that come in to our neighborhoods and communities. As she was explaining, the farming community across the road is actually organic. There is a lettuce plant there, there's date palms there are olive gardens, and it's an organic field. This would be sort of right in the middle of all of that. So that's one point. The other thing is the proposed growth. We do not have the infrastructure out there for police coverage, for fire coverage. We received personally a notice from our homeowners insurance of decline because we don't live within 7 miles of a fire department. So we ended up getting special dispensation and consideration to allow our homeowners insurance to be renewed. So for us to consider growth in these communities, we must also consider the infrastructure to support those developments. On top of that, when we consider the builders that are coming in, what is also happening in our community that is distressing is they're breaking up these large properties into 2-acre parcels of 10 acres so that they build 5 homes and not 6 for a subdivision, which would then require them to take an additional rigor of state laws and regulations to mandate the water usage. And commitments to a 100-year outlook of ensuring our water is safe for years to come. 5-acre parcels are considered individual home builds and therefore do not have the rigor to abide by those additional state laws. So at least our community, our county, should have at minimum the same requirements as the state, if not more, to ensure that our builders who build on these properties are ensuring that we have the water for years to come that we need for those of us that live in these communities. So I wanted to make sure to bring that forward to the community, to the county, as we think about the growth and development. The expansion out there is significant. And any 10-acre parcel is being purchased for these 2-acre lots. So the other thing I would want to also just reiterate, 2-acre minimum, not less than 2-acre, but 2-acre minimum. So I'll stop there and ask if there are any questions or comments for me.
Any commissioners have questions of the speaker? If not, thank you for
Thank you very
sharing
much.
with us tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jim Davis. I live at 4770 East County 14 1/2 Street. I'd like to thank you gentlemen for doing your due diligence because we live there, you don't, okay? That's, par for the course.
Yeah,
Excuse me, okay. Yeah. I know you threw my red light, whatever. The main thing is that I've been here for 17 years in this area, in the local area where we're talking about now. I've been in Yuma since 1975 when there was nothing but groves on the mesa. The big thing is you start having a commercial venture like they're going to bring in. Like she said, my wife said, you have organic on the south side. You're using the same canals that organic water is being drawn in, made available to use for organic food. At the same time, you got these people coming in here, building houses, and they're using the same water. Now, where do you think we're going to have a little problem here with chemicals getting back washed into the canals and whatnot? And however, we're not here for breaking down, not building in the Yuma Valley. We know we got the umbilical cord coming in, which is the electric wires coming in now. It's going to make the loop, and you're going to build off that to make more generated money. That's obvious. We're just trying to say is what's been going on is you're letting the builders build these little chunks of road for you guys down the road. No DOT standards, whatever. They become racetracks, okay? You got your sign out here that says end of county road. We don't want nothing to do with it. We put a $300 pole in the ground, okay? We get a speed raceway. We had it when it was dirt. Now we got it with cement half the way in. Little chunks, you're letting them build roads for you. I understand that. You guys got your tractors and whatnot down on the other end because you have that other road going from County 14th to County 15th. You're going to have to punch in with that other building you got going in down there. You know what I'm talking about. You've been in the fields there. We're just trying to stabilize this. And the big thing, like my wife said, circumventing the law to get around going through the federal way of doing things to protect our water rights. We're being abused. And if everybody's sitting here saying, well, water isn't a problem anymore, you better look at the big ring around the bathtub up north in Vegas. I've been here when we could walk across with the Ciudad Morelos Bridge. We could walk across the river, okay? What are we gonna do when our aquifers dry up? Everybody's sticking their little straws in there because they're circumventing the laws. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, I can tell it. But at least we're here giving our 2 cents. We appreciate your time and consideration. You got a hell of a handful. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Thank you, sir. Any questions? I appreciate your comments. Yes, speaker tonight, one more.
Good evening, folks. My name is Paul Bale, and I live at 4676 East County, 14.5 Street. Sir, could you pull the map up with the red stars, please? My neighbors have talked about things, and they've hit very magnanimous things. I'd like to talk to you about just personal things. Randy's my neighbor. We're the new kid on the block. We live in number 7. We bought it from the gentleman who built it in 1997. Randy's my neighbor. I've talked to him 3 times in 3 years. He's a perfect neighbor. We don't have any problems. All right. That's how, but the thing is we bought the house from Andy Hooper, and we paid more than the other houses we're looking from in Yuma. We came from California over here. We still work over there because we didn't agree with California. A lot of people coming in are in the same way. They're going to come here because of whatever various reasons they have, and they're looking to buy new homes. We get it. So we did 7, and before we closed on 7, we made an offer on 7. We came back, there were already foundations poured on 6. And we're like, well, okay, we paid a premium to live out in the country. As my neighbor said, that lot there is active. They're growing on it. Up where 10 and 11 is, when they made those into houses, it was fallow. Nothing had been grown on there since the 3 years we've been there. It's just been sitting. This is an active farm. I'm sorry the owner couldn't make it here tonight to address that issue if someone had brought it up, but it's an active farm. They're actually using it. They're producing alfalfa. They cut it all the time. It's nice for the neighborhood. If I can just walk over here and show you real quick, this area right here is under development right now, and it looks exactly like what they're proposing here for 1 and like they did for 11. They've got a cul-de-sac in, and they've got 5 houses going around it. All those houses look exactly the same. They're about half the size of our houses. They're all the same floor plan, and they're going in. When they did 10 and 11, 3 of those houses were the same, and then the next house that they did that's right above 10 looks to be a little bit different. But other than that, every house is the same. Jim and Gail's house looks different than Randy's house, looks different than my house. We have a nice community of houses that we built. It's quiet, it's peaceful, we like it. We oppose this not because we don't support people, we don't support an exodus from California, we do. We don't support more people coming to Yuma and stimulating the economy, we do. But when Section 1 goes down and there's 5 houses the same that are the small, and then next thing it'll be Section 2, and then it'll be half of Section 3, and it'll go through, and all of a sudden we moved out to the country to get some peace and quiet, and now we're in the middle of a subdivision that looks like cookie cutter houses. And there's nothing we can do about it. They've brought out, businesses and lawyers, and we're here representing ourselves. So I know it's tough to fight change and growth, but this is our only defense to keep our personal quiet way of life. I know everyone's talked about all the bigger picture. I'm going to talk about the personal things. I don't want my property value to go down because if we ever leave, I know someone's going to come in and want to value that quiet life that we have out there. And when it's gone, that's going to hurt us as well too. So Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to speak concerning this rezoning case tonight? Very quickly, we can't come up to this podium, but we can't open it up for everybody to go twice. But since you were brave and went first,
okay.
We'll
Ms. Matias, you've asked whether or not people use the property out there, and that was a very valid point that was brought up about people buying 2-acre parcels. I've always lived rural. my whole life. This is the closest I've ever had of neighbors. And even I don't talk to him for 3 times in all the years he's lived here.
Perfect neighborhood.
Perfect. But the point is well taken. Something was said earlier about the 2-acre lots. That's very true. What they're saying is a lot of them are bought. And going back to the dust thing, I'm asking for dust abatement just while they're building it. After they're done, it's going to be the same thing. Because a lot of these houses that are being built, they aren't doing anything with the yards because they do find out that it's way too much. Going back to the question, do I plant mine? I'm 2 of the 5 that are across the street from this. Yes, sir, fully planted. Do I have cows on it? Yes, sir, I do. And so they are being used. And so I think that's something when you're talking about usage of the land, is it going to be used or is this just a novelty? And also, is one more point that was made, and is a very good point, are the houses that are going to be built comparable to the houses that are sitting across the street? From what we've seen so far, that is not the case. So thank you again for allowing me to come talk to you again, and I did want to reemphasize that since I was first.
Yes, thank you, Randy.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
For the record, can we ask the customer if he's opposing or neutral on this proposal? Are you neutral or in opposition?
I'd like all the facts put out. So I am. If you want me to sit there, I'll say I'm opposed.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Me too, if I didn't say that.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Appreciate you asking.
Yeah, we need that for the
Chairman,
account.
Any comments in favor or opposition need to be provided in writing. So they can be provided after the board meeting, by email, by regular mail.
Because that can make a difference in the account of what has to happen to get this through, is the number of people that object to it.
Or they can send it today when they get home.
You can send it today, tomorrow, you can send it. All right, anyone else from the public like to comment? If not, we'll close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Is there anything that the applicant has heard that he would like to respond to?
They're trying to debate which one. No.
Neither one of them would like to respond. Okay, we'll close the public hearing portion. The applicant has finished. We'll come back to the commission for discussion and action.
Mr. Chairman, I got some comments because you folks are exactly right. These 10-acre parcels go like hotcakes, and they split them into 5, and so they get around subdivision regulations, and I see this all the time. I mean, I'm right at the county myself. I go out, and I live in the county, so the roads, they're like cow trails, so I see it, and I see that as a weakness within Yuma County. And something needs to be done. I don't have the answers, but you're exactly right. Something needs to be done to avoid this. And but it's been in existence. I've been living out there almost 20 years, so I see the same thing. I don't have the answer. I just wanted to make the comment.
Mr.
Chairman,
if I may.
Okay, let's go with
yeah.
Commissioner McDermott first, and then Commissioner.
It's not like there are a shortage of 2-acre parcels already existing. And while I realize we don't have any way to inventory at this point in time, these, instant subdivisions and just are destroying the quality of life because of the different values of people who buy them. And there's only 187,000 acres of farmland in Yuma County, and when they're covered up with other stuff, you can't scrape it off and go back to farming. But the other thing is, too, that there's no more. We're landlocked, 7% private land. And as I drive around in the county looking at these various things, particularly on the Mesa, it's almost like a disease to see the number of parcels that are going to these small acreage things. And in my mind, looking at the development around the area from the aerial photos, this development isn't necessary as 2-acre lots. But we don't have a law that, or don't have a rule that can do that. Hopefully, Danny, in the middle of the night, you'll think of a way.
Well, that's a challenge, isn't it, Commissioner Rosales?
Well, I just had a few comments, and with respect to Commissioner's remarks, there is a shortage of 2-acre parcels in our county. I can attest to that, as my profession is. And it's ironic that, unfortunately, I get everyone is opposition because they don't want any more additional traffic and so forth. But we also can't make assumptions that the people that would build their houses aren't going to do the same thing that they do, caring for their property, growing and having alfalfa. That's an assumption of what's going on. Ironically, someone many years ago divided that 10-acre parcel to 5 parcels, and that's why people live where they're living at right now. Otherwise, they wouldn't have that opportunity to do that. So it's kind of hard, and I get both views of it, but in regards to that comment that the subdivision, they're trying to get around the subdivision process, obviously that's not the case because it's 2 minimum acres. I mean, if it was a different situation, that's our zoning, and 5 times 2 is 10. I mean, they're not going around anything. That's what our zoning ordinance requires. So I myself would not, and then I see an improvement at least to the access road that will be done. And unfortunately, the gentleman is correct. As the county, as these developments come, they're building them little by little. We're requiring the minimum standard to improve the air quality. I myself live next to the fields, but I am next to prime ag fields. So mine is lettuce and mine is greens, and I don't get that dust that hay or alfalfa does when they turn it over. But again, that is the downside to living in the counties and so forth. So I myself will be for this project. And with that, I would like to make a motion for approval, not only because of those items, but it also scored a 285 point out of the 300 checklist that we go by. It's not in the Berry Goldwater, it's not an issue in regards to that. But I would like to make a motion to approve rezoning case number 2126 with the conditions and staff presented after any further discussion is completed.
Commissioner Rosales has offered a motion to recommend approval. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Rice seconds the motion to recommend approval of rezoning case 21-26 as presented by staff?
Yes, sir. With the conditions.
With the conditions, staff. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I just have a comment. I don't deny the person that owns that the right to do that. I mean, but I think my only comment is that the county needs to have more stringent control over roadways and infrastructure, because when you go trying to get a private access easement, the people go out to their neighbors, try to get it. There's no maintenance, there's no nothing on it, and this is a major problem in all of Yuma County on the Mesa. And that's my only point. That's my only point.
And if I may add to that,
please.
As part of the YMPO board, the county is working together with the federal government in regards to the funding that's being provided for infrastructure to address all these uncompleted county roads. So hopefully we will see some change to help the people that live in the counties with all this stuff that's going on at the federal level, because that is coming in with the infrastructure bill. So I know YMPO is already starting to work with that with the county and the studies, and I mean, it's going to take time, but that's what they're working towards, to help all these county properties with these issues.
Yes, and if staff, you heard Commissioner Black, the county needs to have, I mean, where would that process start if the county wanted to have some kind of additional requirements to do a 5-lot split for roadways? Where would that start?
Splitting of properties,
Right.
or creation of 5 or less lots without compliance with the subdivision regulations.
Right, but could we have
Say
rules?
6
Go ahead.
If you create 6 or more lots, then that triggers compliance with the subdivision regulations, and then the developer would have to provide the infrastructure or roadways built to county standards. The developer is doing something that is allowed by state law, and staff is recommending minimal improvements based on what the proposal is.
Right, but I mean, if we wanted to try to say, well, look, we're gonna, for 5 lot splits now, we're gonna hold a zoning standard that we're gonna have to have paved roads, I mean, we could start that process if we wanted to, but it would be detrimental to the property owner.
Mr. Chairman, the board has been doing that through the approval of rezoning actions and requiring a schedule for development, requiring that the road be built to standard beam, which is a
So
penetration.
we're moving in the right direction.
Yes.
Slow, but I understand Commissioner Black's concern because it's difficult sometimes to get through some of those county trails. And, but I do understand and agree that there's no convenient place to tell one property owner he can't do what the other property owner did last year or 2 years ago or 3. I mean, it's a hard place to say, well, we think that's enough. That's pretty arbitrary. So we would have to come up with something that's less arbitrary than our thought, that there's just been enough 5 lot
Mr.
splits.
Chairman, that's why we get paid so much. That's exactly it.
Yes, Commissioner.
For the record, that is 0.
Yeah, well, they know that, I think.
Just to make sure.
Commissioner McDermott.
Is the county allowed to establish more stringent standards than the state?
Well, I don't think we could not do that as saying you have to do a subdivision with a 5 lot split. I mean, we could require more improvements.
Yeah, infrastructure improvements. You know, it goes back, Mr. Chairman, it goes back to the developer. And what it's got to go back to is the person that purchased that lot's going to have to pay for this. And if it doesn't happen at the development stage, it gets lost and it comes back to the county. And that's what I see happening, and it doesn't seem to be getting better faster enough for me anyway.
As fast as you wish.
Not as fast as I wish.
Any further discussion? We do have a motion and a second on the floor to recommend approval of this rezoning case number 21-26. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
So the 2 nays? 2 nays?
Can we get a roll call?
Please, roll call vote. I'd like to hear the names.
Scott Morhern,
Aye.
Ron Rice,
Aye.
John McKinley,
Aye.
Danny Bryant,
Aye.
Matias Rosales,
Aye.
Bobby McDermott,
Nay.
Gary Black.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-2.
Very good.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
We used to do what we call findings. It's gonna change until we start pushing back a little bit. And this keeps coming up and up again. The military base keeps coming up again.
What he's saying?
The reason,
Change the law, or we don't need to be here.
reasonable. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your comments. We will move on now to item number 9. The Planning and Zoning Commission's 2022 proposed calendar. Just like to point out to everybody that November's meeting.
November and December.
Yeah, but November and December's meetings are not on the normal days. I'm going to try to remember that next year.
Reminded that.
Any
On the first watch.
discussion?
That's true.
Do we just need to approve it, or do we need a motion to approve?
Motion, please.
The road and
Look.
something we reminded.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion by Commissioner Black with a second by
I'll second it.
Commissioner McKinley to approve the 2022 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting schedule. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, is there any discussion by commissioners or members of the Planning and Zoning staff about current events, schedule of future Planning and Zoning Commissions? Nothing to report. The next item on the agenda, item number 11, is to adjourn, and we will stand adjourned.